The Gun Shop Show, the Gun Shop Show. What is it? We don't know. The Gun Shop Show, the Gun Shop Show. Here we go, it's the Gun Shop Show.
Welcome to the Gun Shop Show. I'm your host, Eli Bruton. And if we sound more buttery smooth, that's because we got new mics. New mics on the Gun Shop Show. And so those melodious voices you're hearing belong to our producer, Trevor Smith. Trevor, say hi.
Hey.
And then our resident gun bunny, Logan Jones.
Yep.
Yep.
Sounds the same on the mic, though.
It does. That part sounds the same, ironically. Okay, so I'm really excited about today's show.
Me too.
Got some good things coming up today. I want to tell you about our goal. We have a 2021 goal, which I'm going to break down for you. I'm going to give you a chance to win a $50 gift card to Liberty Tree Guns.
Wow.
By sharing the feed and tagging 5 friends. So if you're listening on one of our great partners like News Talk, KZRG, or Springfield's Talk 1041, all you have to do is go to Facebook, type in Liberty Tree Guns. You're going to find the live stream where the conversation is going down.
Oh, and it's hot and heavy in the comments. I guarantee
So
it.
hot.
And you're going to share that feed, and you're going to tag 5 of your friends. And when you do, you're going to enter to win a $50 gift card, and you got a real good shot at winning.
Super good.
odds.
It's embarrassingly good. That's how good it is.
A lot better than, say, getting your stimulus check on time.
Well, you guys not get yours yet?
Still waiting on mine.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I could let you look at the deposit, my deposit, and that make you feel better?
That would make me feel tons better.
That's kind of like, going to the range and shooting your buddy's gun. It's not as good as owning it.
Right, but at least you got the experience.
I get the taste of what it feels like.
See, stuff like that is what keeps me from buying impulsively. If I just get a little taste of it, I'm good,
Yeah.
That's all it takes. That's why I haven't bought a Ferrari. Or a Lamborghini.
It's because I always take you for a ride in mine.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't have to worry about that monthly payment.
When do I get my ride in the Ferrari Lamborghini?
We'll do that when we take you to
you're
the
out of the
range to
band.
shoot machine guns.
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, he did shoot machine guns with us already.
Nah.
No.
We're going to be joined this week by, today on the show, by Michael Sodini from Walk the Talk America. So we'll have a great conversation with him. He's the former president of Eagle Imports, which is a umbrella. They're an importer. They're an umbrella company that helps bring us great firearms like Bursa, Grand Power, and several other brands. And that was a family company. He's no longer the president, but we'll break down how he got to form this great foundation doing the great work that he's doing. Also, if we have time, we're going to be joined by... you know what? We'll make time.
Yeah, let's make time.
Let's go ahead and make some time.
We have this beautiful Korth revolver in our inventory.
So choice.
It is the choicest of revolvers.
I've seen it, and it looks fast.
I seen it. I held it. I loved it.
I put it out on the internet. Video of me holding it.
Right.
And everybody wanted it.
Yeah.
Not everyone could afford it.
Right.
So that is a $6,000 Korth revolver made in Germany. Arguably the nicest revolver on the planet.
Right. And it's not that it's $6,000 and that's what makes it nice. It's made by one person.
Yeah.
A craftsman / gunsmith.
You don't really have to defend the price once you've seen how they're made. Once you're seeing what you're getting,
Once you feel it.
and if it's not for you, that don't matter.
Right.
We got stuff for you on the Gun Shop Show. If a $6,000 revolver isn't it, which by the way, you could put it on layaway with your stimulus.
That covers it.
Now you need to make sure that you got a plan for the rest of it.
Right.
Another $400. You're going to need to know what you're going to do with that. But there's no fees, no penalties if you use Liberty Tree Guns free layaway program. I don't know if we have any voicemails. We'll see if we have time for that. But why don't we see if we can get some free merch in your hands?
What? Free merch?
Do that.
I'm going to point to these. You give me the thumbs up. Okay. All right.
Behind the scenes.
We're making the sausage, okay? Here's what people don't believe. I mean, they're listening on the radio. They're like, "Oh, I'm just going to give me some free stuff. It's probably some baloney."
Yeah.
No,
Where's the catch?
Yeah, we don't give away free baloney.
no.
No. We would
So,
if we could.
First thing I want to give you is this.
What is it?
That's a can koozie.
Oh, so green.
Beautiful.
So we're in the middle of winter, so keeping your drink cold is not as high on your list. But you know what you could do with this?
Keep your beer warm?
Keep your drink hot. Yep. With Liberty Tree Guns koozie. And then come summertime, when you need to keep that beverage nice and crunchy cold,
Right.
you're going to use a Liberty Tree Guns koozie, and I'm going to give it to you for free.
Yeah.
Okay?
Get it now so you're prepared.
Just go to libertytreeguns.com, and where do you go once you get to that great website?
You're going to want to go to the Liberty Tree merch tab at the top of the page. Click that, then click the merch section. It's going to be there. It's going to be free of charge.
You can also get one of these great decals, which people use to represent. Put it on their car, put it on their gun safe, put it on their forehead.
You could put it on your guitar.
Really,
Yeah.
wherever you want to put it, you can put it.
And represent. If you order this nice round, what is this, a 4-inch?
Yeah, I think it's 4.
That's a 4-inch high gloss Liberty Tree Guns decal.
More vibrant than it appears in the video.
Yeah, the camera's not picking up that.
The vibrancy.
It's trying to keep your creamy tones, bro.
Yeah, that's a challenge all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will send you this for free, meaning I'll even cover the postage. Now, if you want to get one of the next two things I'm going to show you, which is free hats to represent. You've got a Hunters Unite hat. You've got a Liberty Tree Guns camo hat with an orange logo.
My preference.
If you want to have, like, say, a couple hats and a koozie and a decal sent to your house in
West Virginia.
Florida.
Good.
I threw in West Virginia.
New
Is that the only
Mexico.
two states? Oh, there
Oh,
you go.
Massachusetts.
All right.
How about
Texas.
What about Puerto Rico? We shipping there.
Sure.
We
do.
do. We sent an AR pistol to Puerto Rico
That's right.
this weeko.
It's true.
Anyway, we're going to charge you just an eensy bit of shipping, but the product's still free. That's just to cover our cost. Now, again, the decal, if you want to be totally free,
Yeah.
if you say, hey, I ain't got my stimulus yet, but I want to represent, that's all you got to do.
What if you are Kevin Whitehead and you're living in Australia and you're just like, man, I really want one of those decals. Is it going
make
to
it
cost
happen.
me anything
Nope.
to ship it here?
If you are in, for example, the Netherlands, and you're a big fan of the Gun Shop Show, or
Right.
you're in Australia, I'll do it. I'll send it to you. I'll pay for it all myself.
You're a generous guy. We appreciate that.
Because I want you to save your money. Because if you're a gun owner and you have to choose what you're going to spend your money on, I would recommend spending it on a security for you and your family by protecting your legal defense for your self-defense through our great partner, U.S. Law Shield. Go ahead and roll that, Trevor.
Not all people are good people. Though we tend to assume most people act with positive intent, there are people who will lie in order to inflict legal and reputational harm against you. We fought this member's misdemeanor unlawful carry charge for over 3 years before it was finally dismissed. This is a prime example of how slowly the wheels of justice move, and of how much damage can be done by a simple, unfounded accusation. Our member was driving home from work on a 2-lane back road when a road rage incident occurred between himself and a motorcyclist who initiated the confrontation. Our member engaged at first, made a few hand gestures and yelled back, but otherwise just went about his drive home as normal. However, as our member continued his drive home, the motorcyclist continued to follow him. So how did police get involved? Well, no one called 911. Why not? because nothing had happened that was worthy of a 911 call. While the motorcyclist was following our member, they passed a police car stopped on the side of the road. The motorcyclist pulled over, flagged the officer down, and made up a story that our member had pointed the gun at him. The motorcyclist gave the officer a description of the member's truck and a partial license plate number. Well, when the police found our member, they asked him if he had been involved in a road rage altercation. At first, the member didn't even know what the police were talking about. Why not? Well, it was such a minor incident that he had moved on with his day and forgotten about it. The member realized it must have been the motorcyclist and confirmed to the officer that they had interacted. He then gave police access to his vehicle where they located the member's carry pistol. These two things were all the police needed to corroborate the motorcyclist's tale and arrest our member. This is a great example of how little evidence the state needs to place you under arrest. It only takes one person's word to get you arrested in the state of Texas. The word of a lying bad guy is enough to put you through the ringer of the criminal justice system. Interestingly, this motorcyclist had a previous conviction for making a false police report. And what did he lie to the police about in the past? He falsely accused a different man of pulling a gun on him. So even a known convicted liar can get you arrested. Thankfully,
Yeah, Trevor, let's cut this short so we don't run out of time. I can give you the spoiler. U.S. Law Shield was able to get this case dismissed entirely because they're going to represent you, attorneys that specialize in self-defense and gun-related things. No caps, no minimums. It's $10.95 a month. I'm a member. I believe in it. I've seen it work. I know the people who will go to work for you. If you're going to do one thing to ensure your safety, there's a reason it's called a legal system and not a justice system. Sometimes it's messy. Go to uslawshield.com, click join now, use the promo code LibertyTree, all one word, and get 2 months for free. Hey, podcast listeners and live stream viewers. I wanted to let you know that the Gun Shop Show is made possible by our friends at Mid-America RV. Being in the customer service industry, I have a really high standard for how customers are treated. Mid-America RV does it right. I've got my RV through their dealership, and I've taken it all over the country. We made it to South Padre Island. We've gone to Colorado several times. And if you've ever owned an RV, you know there's a lot that comes with it. So who you get it from matters, and it's extremely important that you have support after the sale. They're located just outside of Carthage. They have a really vast inventory, and they are home of, I believe they call it a forever warranty. So I urge you, if you're in the market for one, to check them out. It's a really fun and can be very affordable way to get your trips in. So visit them at midamericarv.com. We appreciate their support of the Gun Shop Show. If you're in the market for a travel trailer or fifth wheel, check out Mid-America RV.
Our member is involved in a brief road rage incident. One driver cuts off another in traffic, and harsh words and gestures soon follow. After the pleasantries are exchanged, our driver goes on his way assuming the incident is over. However, still agitated, the other driver calls 911 and reports our member as aggressive, possibly having seen a weapon in his hand. In reality, what he saw was our member flipping him the bird. In an incident that can only be described as an overreaction by officers, our member is pulled over. When officers learn that he carries a legal concealed firearm, they arrest him despite a lack of evidence. This incident is just one of numerous member experiences. Be aware when traveling with a firearm. Any aggressive actions made by you, right or wrong, can land you in jail. Don't let it happen to you.
Hey, Adam and Lauren, thanks for jumping on here so we can make an ad for the show.
Yeah, absolutely. We're huge Second Amendment advocates and big supporters of Liberty Tree and the Gun Shop Show.
All right, so for the ad, we're going to want to go over what you offer.
We do all the standard auto, home insurance, life insurance.
We also do a lot of rental property, whether that be commercial rental or residential, duplexes, apartment complexes, single-family dwellings. And we have specialty policies for all your firearms.
You have commercial coverage on my rental properties, so we can put that in the ad too. And I was thinking that we'll talk about how you're big supporters of the store and how you come in the store pretty much every day on your lunch break and buy guns.
Maybe don't mention the everyday thing because my wife does watch the show. But we've been known to come in occasionally.
Every once in a while.
All right, guys, I think that we have everything we need to make an ad. So once I get it done, I'll give you guys a holler to check it out. Trevor, don't put it in the ad, but those guys are in here literally every day on their lunch break.
This is Russell. I gotta go. It's time for the Gun Shop Show.
Welcome back. This is the Gun Shop Show. I'm your host, Eli Bruton, coming to you from inside of the best gun store that I know of, and that is Liberty Tree Guns. I want to remind you really quickly to share the feed and tag 5 friends if you want to win today's prize, which is a gift card to Liberty Tree Guns. I'm very excited about our next guest because he's doing something that is very unique in our industry, in our space, the gun world. And our guest is Michael Sodini. He's a third-generation firearms industry professional and known by many as the most ungun gun guy. And he is the founder and creator of an organization called Walk the Talk America. Michael, thanks so much for being on the program with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So I actually have some problems, I would say, with gun culture, with the gun community as a whole. There's some things that we need to do better, and treating our own better is one of those things. But then that's what makes what you do so interesting. I want to just open the floor to you. Tell us what your organization does and why it's so important.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, and I know where you're coming from. My organization, Walk Talk America, was founded basically on the concept of if we know what the problem is when we're attacked and people say, like, hey, there's been a mass shooting or, suicide's out of control, how do you guys work with the mental health community to address those issues? Someone had asked me that, a chance meeting over a dinner, and it changed my life. And I thought, well, we really don't, right? We pass the ball a lot to mental health, and we say, well, it's a mental health issue, but we never really look to say, like, well, okay, what is that then, and how can we come up with solutions that might mitigate those numbers, right? And my organization started off with the concept of, well, I know a lot of people in the industry because, I actually worked in the industry and I owned a company called Eagle Imports. I said, well, I could go around and probably get money and I can donate $1 a gun and we could just give it to mental health, right? That sounded like the answer. It sounded like a solution. And they could do their thing and we could build this great relationship. But what I found was they don't have the answers either. So here we are back at step one, kind of standing at each other, staring at each other from across the room. I thought I was going to be Superman in the beginning. I was like, here, we're going to get all this money for you and you're going to be able to go out and do all this outreach and preventative measures and help people. You tell us what to do. We're all ears. Didn't work out that way. Turned out to be a blessing in disguise because it forced me to take my organization and look at ourselves and go, well, what could we do that's proactive as gun owners, distributors, gun stores, firearm manufacturers? What can we do? Let's refocus. Let's look at all the things that we have and say, well, we could do this. Let's work together and find ways to save people's lives without fear of consequence. And that's really what I wanted to do. And it's what it's become. So some things are a blessing in disguise. The fact that they didn't have any answers for me when I first started, that was a little devastating, but it turned out okay because now we're doing some really neat things, some things that no other organization out there, no government entity can even do because we're doing it on our own. So they don't even have the ideas to tell us what to do.
And that's
They're
proof
blown
positive.
away by the things that we're doing.
That's proof positive that it's a need. Trevor, I've got a little bit of an echo there. I don't know if that's coming from his end.
Yeah, I think it might be feedback coming from his from his line.
Okay, well, we'll just keep rolling through it and dealing with it. One of the problems that I see in the gun community is I saw an internet comment, well, if that's how you are, then you shouldn't even have a gun. And people are quick to jump to this sort of macho approach of like, well, if you have any problem of any level, like if you're not educated or if you have any sort of bump in the road in your life, then just throw the baby out with the bathwater. And the thing is, we can't do that. The issue of suicide, whether we like it or not, is connected to our industry. It's really easy. One thing that's been an argument of a pro-gun argument is to say, well, the gun violence statistics include suicides. And that inflates the numbers because it's not gun violence in the way that we think of it, a victim and a suspect. It's self-inflicted. But you can't just say, oh, well, that doesn't count because it's suicide, because that's still a huge problem. And, people make the argument that suicide is, the rate isn't higher because of the guns. It's just the chosen method. But you still can't totally say that we don't have a problem with that with veterans and the population in general.
I think it's important that we also, in our mission, or a part of the mission that we've kind of created here, is to be proactive instead of reactive. I mean, if we're out there trying to head off mental issues with firearms with organizations like Walk the Talk America, then we're not trying to fight off any sort of legislation that's going to be pressed against us when using those numbers.
Yeah, I have it's a pretty anecdotal story, but it's kind of cool. I run in a lot of circles now that I never would have guessed that I would have been in. Mental health circles. I get invited to DC to join functions. And sometimes I know I have to walk into a room and be amongst people that probably will make a judgment call on me simply because they don't like firearms. One time I was standing there and there's a group of people and I was kind of buying drinks for everybody that we were all kind of talking. The one guy said, "Hey, you might want to Google me before you buy that drink." And he was kind of laughing. And I said, "Nah, I'm sure it doesn't matter." But it turns out he was a lawyer for the Brady campaign. And he was just asking me, it was just a cordial conversation. He's like, "Well, what are some of the things your organization does?" And I was showing him this mental health flyer that many gun stores and many gun manufacturers put in the box that leads to free and anonymous mental health screenings, right?
Michael,
okay, yeah, you got it right there. That's
that
awesome.
came in a shipment to our store here at Liberty Tree Guns yesterday, right, Logan?
Yeah. We got it yesterday.
That was just by happenstance. We got a pile of guns that I assume were connected to Eagle Imports, and we'll get into what your connection with Eagle Imports is. But I just had to point out that we had that flyer in our hand, which means it's doing exactly what you intend for it to do. So we have about a minute and a half left, and I'll let you finish that story.
No. So I was telling them the things we do, and we do quite a few things, but that's just one of them that I'm particularly proud of because of the gun shops, the gun manufacturers. Like, who knew? All you had to do was ask, "Hey, can we put this mental health flyer in your box?" They're like, "Yeah, that sounds like a great idea." But he said something that really blew me away. He's just like, "Yeah, this is really cool. Can I keep this card?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And he goes, the perception out there is that you guys don't do anything, and that's the problem. And as much as that is annoying to hear, right, he's right. There's in many ways he's right. Like, if they don't know, if they don't take the time to know, or we just aren't proactive, then they're going to go on with that belief that we don't do anything. And that's really what I'm trying to do with the firearms industries. I want to get us to where the alcohol industry got with DUIs. Right? Nobody blames Johnny Walker when somebody gets behind the wheel and does something stupid. If we come out first and say, "Look, we're already doing this. What do you do besides criticize?" Right? I like to do that. I like to come prepared and blow people away when they're like, "Wow, they're really doing some crazy stuff that I never thought anyone could do." So I agree with all you guys. I think we got to be proactive.
Okay, well, we're coming up on a break. When we get back, I want to talk about Eagle Imports and how we got that flyer on the Gun Shop Show. Hey everybody, Eli here, and I'm really excited to tell you that the Gun Shop Show is brought to you by one of my favorite places on earth. Located here in my hometown of Carthage on the beautiful historic square, the Emporium on the square, and the Woodshed. It's a art gallery, an event center, a gift shop. They have art classes, and there's very unique Americana artwork from famous artists like Andy Thomas. They handle a lot of his original framing. Just has this incredible old school vibe, and you can feel the history coming through
through, have to check out the art gallery, but then as you work your way to the back, my favorite part, the woodshed, had a lot of great meals in here. They've got burgers. I love their catfish. Excellent. Chicken and waffles even. It's incredible. And it's also a music venue, so we got to see my favorite band of all time, the Ben Miller Band. Ceiling was literally raining down. They were rocking so hard. But the best thing, owned by one of my favorite people on earth, that's Cherry Babcock. Check out the Emporium on the Square and the Woodshed.
Hey everyone, the Gun Shop Show is brought to you by Carthage Lock and Key. If you need anything to do with a lock or a key
to success.
Did they tell you to say that?
No, I just thought it sounded good.
They have a mobile service, so they can come to you and cut pretty much any kind of key
to success.
Or if you lock your keys in your
to
car.
Success.
I'm talking even security modern chip keys.
To success.
Trevor, could you just jingle the name of the business?
Okay. Yeah, I'll do it good this time.
So, with all of my properties and all of the needs I have, I trust
Carthage Lock and Key to success.
the Ruger Security 9 LTO, an exclusive new firearm only from Liberty Tree Guns. This is an affordable pistol that comes with Ruger's renowned reliability and workmanship, and comes with an optic with a 3-year warranty. If you haven't ever shot a pistol with an optic on it, it's a lot of fun and you can really acquire a target quickly. All right, Ruger Security 9 LTO unboxing. So it pretty much obviously comes with everything the Ruger Security 9 would already come with, and this is how they look in the box. Ruger started doing this insert in the box, which is kind of nice. We've had to modify it a little bit to make sure that your optic fits. So there's a cutout so the cover can go on and then the gun can fit right here in that. They come with 2 mags, so a lot of price point guns, you're just getting 1 mag, but you get 2 15-round, OEM mags. A couple little bonuses is the optic comes with the AR mounts. So if you want to pull this optic off and run it on an AR, you've got everything that you need. That's a freebie, just comes in the box. Once we pull this insert out, here's where all the goodies that come with the optic. Got a 3-year warranty on the Firefield optic, the user manual. It has the tools for both mounting the optic if you want to take it off, and also the adjustment screwdriver for the windage and elevation, and then all of the factory information for your pistol. So this is the format that those will come in. And again, guys, remember, this is an option if you are excited to try out an optic on a pistol and you want to do it for a price point. So these at this price are cheaper than some guys are paying for just an optic. You're getting the gun and the optic. You can get the price and all the details at libertytreeguns.com. Just search LTO.
Hey there. We got your lab results back. It looks like you have a fever, and the only prescription is more Gun Shop Show.
Welcome back to the Gun Shop Show. Quick reminder to share the feed and tag 5 friends and get a chance to win a gift card to Liberty Tree Guns. We're joined by Michael Sodini from Walk the Talk America, and we're discussing very important topic, which is mental health. And so I want to tell one quick story for you, Michael, and then I want to get in briefly to Eagle Imports and how that puts you in a position to have your foundation that you have now. But was it Paul that mentioned Michael to us?
It was Rob Pincus.
Oh, Rob Pincus. Sorry, got those two confused. Rob Pincus referred us to you. And during our interview with him, I was telling a story about how a friend of mine came to me and said, look, I'm kind of struggling with depression. And while I don't want to be unarmed in my home, I think the risk of me having this here with me, it was just his carry gun, is worse than the risk of not having something for home defense. So would you keep this for me? And, I was humbled that he trusted me enough to ask that question, because people have the perception, you own a gun store and you're posting pictures with guns. And for me, I've got the beard. They think that I'm going to have this attitude where, I don't have time for you if you're not, if you're having an issue. But he knew me well enough to know that wasn't true. He asked me to hold on to that. And a few months went by and he said, you know what, I have got some help. I feel better. And we had kind of a long conversation. And he told me when he gave it to me that when it's time to get this back, I know you're going to check on me, make sure that we're good. And so, I talked with him and talked to his family, and made sure that I felt good about, he wanted someone that could store it securely and keep track of it and not have, lose track of where it was. And so that was a good example of something that happened to me personally. But I know there are a lot of probably gun owners that don't feel like there's a resource for them when it comes to these issues.
Yeah. Well, first of all, that is the right thing. You did the right thing. I believe that it's on us to kind of, I say, police our own, right? If you have somebody that's in need, and they just need the gun out, do your best to either take the firing pin or take the firearm out of the house. In states where there's issues with transfer laws, Walk the Talk America is actually working with government officials to try to change the language in those to make sure that we're not committing felons when you're doing the right thing. Good Samaritan clauses and things like that. I think it's super important. But, going back to an overall theme, like one of the things, we're in the firearms industry, man. Like we regardless, the perception of us is like we're all alphas, right? Everybody that's a firearms owner is this badass and tough, and we can't show weakness, and we've sort of been conditioned also too to be afraid of showing weakness, to lose our rights. That's a very important issue with us. That's why some people don't go forward to get help when they need it, because they're like, the Second Amendment means so much to me. There's no way I'm giving up my guns, and that's understandable. But that's the whole point of starting it within and having programs that are ours, where we can go for safe storage. We can do this. It's the fear, of coming forward. We need to get rid of that, and we need to work with the people that understand that. And I think, in my opinion, the mental health side, I think they're starting to realize that, because what we're doing right now with restriction and all that, it's just not working. The numbers are going up. There's a statistic I like to use. I'm in Vegas, right down the street, Mandalay Bay, October 1. We had 59 people lose their life that night. We lose over 60 people a day to suicide by firearm. So we have an October 1 every single day. And the media just doesn't individually go down the line, tell you the names and everything like that. But it kind of blows you away when you put it in that perspective. So what we've been doing, and I'd say there's like far more laws on the books than ever, it's not working. So let's try something different, right? Mm-hmm. Let's try something different, because we lose more first responders and vets and people that we hold dear to us. That's the elephant in the room, right? For years, we watched a lot of those people used to come to SHOT Show and everything. They're gone now. And we just didn't talk about it because it was kind of this taboo subject. Now let's kick the door down, talk about it, and say, look, these are the things that we're doing. either help us or we can go fight it out in court, right? But most of the time, what I find is the mental health side. They say like, "Yeah, I really like this idea. This is really cool." I think it's coming around.
I think all of us know someone or know of someone who committed suicide with a firearm, and I mean, there's even been some famous people, so pretty much everybody is not insulated to the fact that this happens, but almost everyone knows someone personally. So this is a very real thing that we need to confront. I admire you for doing that. Let's talk about how you got in this position, what your connection to Eagle Imports was, how we ended up here at Liberty Tree Guns with one of your flyers in a shipment of firearms that came into the store.
Okay, so my connection to the industry as a whole is through Eagle Imports. My family owned it, so as a product of nepotism, it totally worked out for me. In 2006, the owner, my uncle, and the president, he died of a stroke. So one of my best friends who was working there before me took the position of president. He took the role of president. In 2009, tragedy hit us again. He went through something. He got a DUI. He felt like he couldn't recover from that, and he took his own life with one of our firearms. That was my introduction to kind of this nightmare, because the thing is like, nobody really wanted to talk about it, but we were all injured. We didn't know how to move forward. But, talking about suicide in the firearms industry was very taboo. It was like a giant red elephant in the room. I always wanted to do something in his honor, but I never knew what that was. And I feel like that's kind of the attitude that a lot of people in the firearms industry have. We want to be good guys. We want to do the good things, but it's like we're getting called all these awful things, and, we're reeling and we're defending our Second Amendment right. But sometimes it takes that pause, think outside of the box. What can you do? Well, I had that chance meeting in New Orleans with the lady that my national sales manager and I invited. And she had said, "Hey, how do you work with mental health? Like, that seems like you guys would be working hand in hand if you've identified the problem." Started the organization. Cut to, here we are now. But when I first started the organization, I knew that I had to do something myself. I had to be the first person, because there's a fear, right? We fear what we don't know. So I was the first person at Eagle to talk to my manufacturers and say, I want to put that mental health flyer in the boxes of all Versa, Grand Power, and Metro Arms firearms. So I knew when I did it, and then there was no repercussions or nothing came back on me, it was all positive, then I could go approach other places. So then I went over and I walked into the Arms Corps booth, and I know the guys from Arms Corps. Hey, I want you to put this flyer in. Now they do it. They have it in over 200,000 guns boxes last year. I went to the guys over at High Point. I was like, hey, would you mind putting this flyer in? What is it? It's mental health, free and anonymous mental health screenings. They're like, great idea. They started putting it in the box. So I'm up to 14 different manufacturers now that put it in the box, and I just landed a very big one. I don't want to jinx it yet, but like that's how it starts, right? And it's kind of like, I like to say, sometimes we look around, we just don't know what to do, and then it's like, oh, we can do this. We can be socially conscious. We can be a socially conscious 2A. We literally can go after the two things that we say are the issues. Suicide, that number is always added to the total amount of deaths. So it's true, right? 2/3 of all firearms deaths are from suicide. So let's run right at it. Let's own it. And then we always say, I always hear that, it's these damn gangbangers in these inner cities. Let's be the first ones to go there too. We have a program called Kids to Kings, which I'm really excited about, which goes into underprivileged, underserved communities and actually teaches firearm safety to the youth. I believe that we should be, one of the things I hated at Eagle, when one of my employees would come to me with a problem, but didn't even have a solution. I didn't care if it was a bad solution. I just didn't want to hear there's a problem.
And I've got
right?
nothing. So we're coming up on a break. I really feel like we're getting into this. We'll be right back on the Gun Shop Show.
Hey, you know what makes this, the Gun Shop Show, possible? It's people who believe in the show. And someone who has believed in the show from the very beginning is my good friend Chris Chapman, owner of Whitehead Farm Supply. Here's a message from Chris.
Guys, my name's Chris Chapman, owner of Whitehead Farm Supply, and I just want to take a few seconds here to let you know that we are going to be proud sponsors of the Gun Shop Show, and we appreciate everything that them guys are doing over there, and we just want to show them our support. Thank you.
So whether you have 2 chickens or 2,000 acres, Chris is your man. Give him a call. I guess that's pretty much the ad.
Whitehead Farm Supply.
Seriously?
Always.
Land is everything to me. When I was born, I was brought home to the family farm, was raised, learned work ethic there, learned appreciation and respect for life and the land itself, and it just became second nature. I had to be there all the time. Whenever I wasn't on the land, I was not happy. But I learned to understand the land, learned to respect it, learned family values. My wife and I have bought a farm besides the one we live on, and it has just been a great investment, and it's been someplace that my son and I have shared the passion of hunting together, and land has been everything in my life. It has kind of kept me focused and gave me a place to be. It's kind of kept me grounded.
Listen here, Pilgrim. This here is the Gun Shop Show.
We're back on the Gun Shop Show. I'm your host, Eli Bruton, coming to you from Liberty Tree Guns. I want to remind you to share the feed, tag 5 of your friends, and you can get a gift card that can be used on libertytreeguns.com or here in the store on any firearm, including the brands that our guest just mentioned from Eagle Imports, like Bursa and Grand Power and other great ones. We're joined by Michael Sodini of Walk the Talk America, talking about an issue that doesn't get talked about enough. And he mentioned this chance encounter that he had. And I've had a few of those moments where someone asks me a question that I don't have the answer to. And at first it's uncomfortable, and can even become even more uncomfortable when you think, why did I not think of this until this moment? And now that it's been presented to me and I felt this feeling of not having an answer to this question, how can I not create the answer to the question? And that's exactly what Michael has done, and it has provided this opportunity for people like me as a gun store owner who knows instinctively and outwardly that this is something that I need to help with. But on my own, would I stop and be the change? Probably not. But now that you have created something that I can contribute to, I'm excited to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. See, that's what I like to hear. And that's the thing that I've always appreciated about the gun shops. I took a Safe Talk class. Safe Talk is an organization that puts these little classes on that kind of teach you to spot the signs of suicide, right? And people that are in crisis. And one thing that blew me away is there's 3 gun shops in the Vegas area that were attending that course with all their employees. And I thought that was pretty impressive. Once again, drawing back on how people think, you guys don't do anything. And I'm like, look at this, like they're here. One of the things that I am aware of is that when you work at a gun shop, it's hard to between straw purchases that you're looking for, customer service, getting the right gun in the person's hand, being like a barber shop for people to come, the hobbyists to come and talk for hours, and then also taking calls from distributors who have the sale of the day. It's hard to become a mental health professional and spot all the things that you need to when someone's in crisis. So I wanted to create something that a connection between local mental health clinicians that speak our language. We do have an affiliate program of pro 2A therapists that will understand things, and I wanted to hook them up with the local gun shops, but also like put the flyers out on the counter and let the customer dictate where this is going, right? Sometimes they pick it up, they put it in their purse or their backpack, and you don't have to talk about it. If they want to talk about it, they'll be, hey, what's this? Or, you know, maybe they'll open up a little bit. I think we can do those things, right? These are things that we can do and have that connection to the local mental health clinician that can guide people. And it also shows the customer that, hey, you care, right? Like you're there for them. You know, that's this great thing about the gun industry is there's so many good people and so many people that want to do the right thing, but it's just like, tell me, right? I have a business to run, right?
Yeah.
Just tell me what I need to do.
And the struggle for a lot of people is when they're struggling with something, with a mental health issue, a lot of times the fear of someone else knowing or how to broach that subject is worse than what they're really going to receive. So the reality is, if any of my customers ever came to me and said, you know, I have this issue, or if I spotted it, I would respond. But they might not perceive that I would that way. However, if they get one of these flyers in a product that they bought from me, or they see it on my counter, or they see a poster on the wall, that's just enough to know, well, maybe it isn't so bad. Maybe they can relate or understand or be a resource, or at least not be at odds with the problem that I'm facing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important to know that there's those outlets and that we're not this, you know, badass guy behind the counter that's not going to be able to appreciate that you're going through something rough or just want to talk about it, right? And that's what I mean. It's unfair for us. It's unfair for us that people put us in those boxes, right? And maybe some people are actually like that, but it's just not true. You know, the reason why we sell firearms for the most part is that there's a part of us that enjoys the concept of, I'm selling you something that represents freedom to me and protects your family and yourself, and you know this great culture that we have. It is a lot about caring.
You're exactly right. And in fact, that's what we wanted this program to be. And we've had a lot of people who become a fan of the Gun Shop Show because they said, well, I thought all gun guys were kind of macho and crude and have almost a militaristic mentality toward others. But when I watch you guys are just regular guys that have fun. You know, even though I have a police background and Trevor has a military background and several of the guys that work for us are, former military, but we still like to laugh and have fun with each other, and we really actually enjoy bringing that brand new person who's clueless. You know, I saw a handful of other dealers commenting about how they hated all these newbies coming into the market this year. I feel the total opposite. I don't care that customers went to my website and bought bullets and only got the projectile because they typed in the word bullets. I don't care, because I want to teach that person. They had this aha moment that guns can be a way, even if they disagreed with them before now, but guns can be an inherent right that they need. You know, when they were shown that the police can't always be there to protect you, their eyes been opened a little bit. And now's our chance to say, hey, we'll welcome you into this tent and we'll teach you. You know, I've been in the position before. I had a guy I graduated high school with. He was getting married and I bought him a gun as a wedding gift. And it wasn't until I gave it to him that I realized he never had that influence from his dad or his grandpa to tell him how to be safe with this thing, how to store it, how to use it properly. So as awkward as it was, I had to sit him down like your grandpa does when you're 10 years old and explain the significance of firearm ownership and why it matters and why doing it responsibly is the only way to do it. And that is something that not every industry has. You know, when you go buy almost anything else, it doesn't come with all of the implications that our industry does.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because when we were chatting before the show, I grew up in two of the worst places for firearms. I grew up in New Jersey, and I grew up in California, in San Francisco in particular. I just didn't grow up around any firearms. My family, when I look back on it, right, they're all from New Jersey. It's really interesting the way they threw me into the industry because I had no shooting experience. They never took me, and the way that they taught me about firearms is throwing me into gun shows that I had no business manning the booth at, right? Here's a catalog, read it, right? So the very first time that I went, and that's why one of my mentors is Charlie Brown from MKS from High Point, because the first gun show I was ever at, he's like, your uncle just left you here? Do you know anything about firearms? And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh my God. So he's helping me. But the first time I actually had to shoot at a range, this is like crazy because I at the time I was like, I should have wore brown pants because I had to fake my way through it, right? Like there's all these people that assumed because of the nepotism thing and growing up around it that I shot. I literally watched what they were doing. It's almost like how I fake it with wine. I don't know what's going on with wine. Like pour a glass. I go like this. It could taste like the horrible, and I'm like, oh, it's perfect, right? But it's the same thing I did with the firearm. I literally went up there and shot, and looking back on it, I don't want anyone to ever go through what I did. I don't want anyone to ever feel like I gotta be macho and like totally know what I'm doing. Like I always try to make it as easy as possible for people. If you don't know what you're doing, just tell me, I'll help you. Because then I tell them that story and they're like, oh, okay, because it worked out. But I'm telling you, like
it's really funny you say that because my son's third grade teacher told me a story yesterday. They were doing New Year's resolutions. And of course, my son has grown up in the industry. He's seen thousands of firearms, but to him, they're the background thing that happens with how we make a living. And I've taken him out to shoot and things, but for the most part, that's our day job. That's what we do. But his New Year's resolution was to become a better shooter. And so the teacher asked him, okay, how are you going to accomplish that? Because that was part of the lesson. We don't just say it, we're going to make a plan for how we're going to accomplish that. He said, well, I'm going to go out in my driveway and I'm going to spend some time every day getting better. She's like, okay, well, what specifically you're going to do? He said, well, I'm going to square up my feet. I'm going to snap my wrist. She's like, how does snapping your wrist help you be a better shooter? He said, what kind of gun do you have? He told her, I'm talking basketball. He didn't care at all about becoming a better shooter with a gun. And so it's people do have that perception, I have people send me things all the time. I thought you would like this. And it's just, they've got me stereotyped as this gun obsessed, person that shoots all day, every day. And that's just not always the truth. And so I share with you in that. So we're coming up on a break. I want to spend one more segment with you if you have the time and break down some things that we can do. We're joined by Michael Sodini of Walk the Talk America, former president of Eagle Imports, right here on the Gun Shop Show. The Gun Shop Show costs money to make, and the Gun Shop Show is brought to you by pecans and cheese. Not really, actually. We didn't have any sponsors for this segment, and so I decided that I would take a snack break, and also I decided if you guys are tired of listening to me eat cheese and nuts, that you need to buy an ad. So from now on, if our ad sponsorships don't sell out, you're going to have to listen to me eat nuts and cheese. In order to sponsor the Gun Shop Show, send us an email at thegunshopshow@gmail.com.
Next week, chips.
This just in. Huge cave found beneath the heart of the city. Spelunkers shared tales of an underground cavern system in Carthage, Missouri. Locals report the entrance to be at 10th and Garrison.
Cave Gang Pizza. Stop in and enjoy wings, wood-fire pizza made with local ingredients, and our full bar. Bring the whole gang and uncover a legend.
People are always asking me, Eli, you seem to get the best deals on things. What is your secret?
Glory actions and estate sales.
Trevor, I appreciate you jingling, but I have to say the ad part first because people need to know about the company.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to do it.
And then also, it's it's covering up my face. So
right.
just get a picture like from their Facebook page because that's the best place, and then just put it right up here where the Gun Shop Show logo is. Okay.
All right. I'll do better this
and
time.
then and so let me finish the ad, and then you can jingle. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the best place to go is their Facebook page.
Oh, glory actions and estate sales.
You know what? Fine. I'll just move in between the graphics and finish telling people that the best place to find out when
Old Glory actions and estate sales. I think I got it that time, man.
Our member's girlfriend is on her way to pick up her kids from her ex-husband's house. She asked our member to tag along because of her ex's temper. As they arrive at the home, her ex emerges yelling and gesturing. He approaches his ex-wife and grabs her, attempting to drag her inside. Fearing for her life, our member, a trained CHL holder, jumps out of the car with his gun drawn and demands the ex-husband release her. Seeing the gun, the assailant retreats. The situation then takes a bizarre turn as the assailant dials 911 to report our member. As a result of the aggressor's lies, our member was wrongfully arrested. Our member had to undergo lengthy legal proceedings. However, he was ultimately cleared of all charges.
Hey everybody, it's Eli at Liberty Tree Guns here at 530 West Fur Road in Carthage, Missouri, and I want to show you a gun collection that we just bought from an individual. A little bit of everything in this one. We wrote a check for 22 guns. Got some newer lever guns, cool Henry Silver Boy, some older shotguns. This is a cool old 410 double barrel. This was a good mix. There was some newer type stuff, some old stuff here, some black powder, some cool Colt, black powder revolvers, newer Rugers, Mark IIIs, PMR 30, Taurus Judge, couple of Taurus revolvers, got a long slide 1911 right here, and then got this cool Llama 45. We just sold the sister to that gun in 38 Super. This particular individual, this was half the collection that we bought from him. And so I just want to remind you that we pay top dollar for entire collection. So we'll buy one gun or 100 from you, and we can offer consignment where we sort of establish what these guns are worth and we pay you out when they sell. Or in the case of this one, we offered consignment, we discussed it, and then we offered a cash price, which was a little bit less than the consignment settlement price, but it's quick. It was one check, and we paid those all out to this individual. And probably the biggest, baddest, coolest one of the whole mix was this Bushmaster BA-50. So we have everything from little antique 22s to 50 cals in this one collection, and want to remind you that we'd love a chance to buy your collection. Find us at libertytreeguns.com or here on Fur Road in Carthage, Missouri. See you soon.
Hey podcast listeners and live stream viewers, I wanted to let you know that the Gun Shop Show is made possible by our friends at Mid-America RV. Being in the customer service industry, I have a really high standard for how customers are treated. Mid-America RV does it right. I've got my RV through their dealership and I've taken it all over the country. We made it to South Padre Island. We've gone to Colorado several times. And if you've ever owned an RV, you know there's a lot that comes with it. So who you get it from, matters, and it's extremely important that you have support after the sale. They're located just outside of Carthage. They have a really vast inventory, and they are home of, I believe they call it a forever warranty. So I urge you, if you're in the market for one, to check them out. It's a really fun and can be very affordable way to get your trips in. So visit them at midamericarv.com. We appreciate their support of the Gun Shop Show. If you're in the market for a travel trailer or fifth wheel, check out Mid America RV.
Hey all, it's Mel with Pro Outfitters. Once again, I'm on the go, but I always make time for the Gun Shop Show.
The Gun Shop Show, the Gun Shop Show. What is it? We don't know. The Gun Shop Show, the Gun Shop Show. Here we go, it's the Gun Shop Show.
Welcome back to the Gun Shop Show. We're here with Michael Sodini of Walk the Talk America. If you just joined us, this organization is broaching a topic in the firearms industry that really has not been directly confronted, and that is mental health. And Michael, we were talking about how you, even though you grew up in a family who owned and operated Eagle Imports, you weren't really a shooter, and you felt a bit out of place or awkward the first time you had to step up at an event and shoot a gun.
Yeah, it's weird when people just assume. They just assume, like, there's no way this kid grew up around Eagle Imports or that had that in the background and doesn't know what he's doing. So it made for an awkward first experience, but I got through it. But it's something that, you know, when you mentioned earlier, all these new shooters, this is our opportunity. They're green, and we can look like good guys or we can look like jerks, right? So it's important to accept this new opportunity that we've been given and welcome these people and get them into the culture.
Yeah,
it's
and
important.
You know, our show, one of the things that we're not is decidedly not overly political, although we are extremely focused on the one topic, and that is the preservation of the Second Amendment. But the Second Amendment can be a very unifying topic because once you get someone to embrace the individual nature of the inherent right to self-defense, if they grasp that and they agree with you on that, first of all, that's an ally we need, regardless of where they land politically on any other topic. But also that spirit of individualism helps them appreciate that nature, in all categories of politics. And we can't accomplish that sort of unity and community if we don't have outreach for things that are important in our industry.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why one of the programs that we have that I'm really proud of is our At the Intersections of Firearms and Mental Health continuing education course for mental health professionals. So we bring, each class, it's taught by Rob Pincus and Jake Wiskerson out of Zephyr Wellness in Nevada and myself, and we bring in, entice them with the continuing education credits, right? But they come in and they're curious. And for you guys, it would be literally the most boring class on the planet because it's gun 101. Mm-hmm. But for many of these people that come through, they've never even picked up a gun or shot a gun. Many of them actually learn right there that there's a gun culture. Believe it or not, like, not all mental health clinicians sit there and have these preconceived judgments that they really hold on to. Some of them are like, I didn't even realize people would be afraid to come forward and talk to me about their firearm. Or when I ask them, do they own a firearm? You immediately go, why is this person asking me that? Right. So that's one of the things I'm really proud of is, and because of COVID and the end of the world, we had to take it online. And you always wonder, like, will the class be as effective as it was when it was online? And we'd get maybe 15 to 20 people when it was like at a range. Our first class we did was October 28th, and we had 78 people. And then our second one, which is, it's a 3-part course, but we're offering the first one, was December 1st, and we had 236 people.
Wow.
So the class grew like that, and that's something I'm proud of, because here's what it is. If we don't come off as like this unreasonable, like alpha, like, hey, we're badass gun guys. You'd be surprised how many people, will sit there and go, okay, I am curious. I do want to understand the difference between an AR, what the issue is with the AR and a regular semi-automatic pistol. Those are the things that I think we have this opportunity now is to educate. Now that the heat is kind of off us, I mean, the industry will always have enemies, but, clearly with all the civil unrest, but the heat kind of came off of us for a little bit. And now it's time to educate. And that's my opinion on it. So.
Yeah. And you brought up something that I had a little bit of training with during my time in law enforcement. And when we were trying to identify someone who might have the potential to harm themselves, one of the questions we would ask is, do you have a plan of how you would do that? If they said, I'm feeling like I just don't want to be alive, we were trained to ask, well, I'm sorry to hear that. Do you have a plan? And the reason we were required to ask that is because it found that you could measure someone's degree of, how close they were to that moment by how much they had thought about the details of what would take place. And there was that problem or that stigma that if they said, well, yeah, I'm going to grab my firearm or whatever the plan was, they were afraid to say that even if it was their thought, because like you said, they may not have this issue forever. It's might be a little cliche, but the saying is that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. We don't want to create a scenario where they think if they say, well, yeah, I've thought about my firearm, that it's the end for them on owning a gun, because it shouldn't be and it doesn't have to be. And I'm sure that some of the people that you partner with have helped navigate that scenario.
I was listening to the inaugural episode of the Walk the Talk podcast, and I'm sorry, I forget the gentleman's name that you were speaking with on there. Jake, was it? The partner on that podcast?
Yep, Jake was Christian. Yeah.
He discussed that he put pictures of his kids on his safe, more as a reminder than anything else. But it brought up, or you guys were talking about what you could do to put time and space between impulse and action. And I wondered if you had anything that you could add to that, Michael, that our listening audience might be able to let sink in a little bit.
Well, yeah, the Cause a Pause campaign, I actually have my daughters on my safe as well, right? And there's people that will argue, like, maybe that could be the reminder that makes somebody do something silly, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I think it's a positive thing. So if you can put something in between you going and doing that, I think that's a great thing. My daughters are definitely worth it to me. So whenever I'm bad, I think, hey, I have my daughters, I'll get through whatever this is. One of the things I wanted to touch on, though, is you're absolutely right. Crisis is temporary. It always is temporary. Jake is somebody that would argue that all of mental health is temporary. That's kind of a refreshing view, a very empowering view, because you get people that are just like, I have this, I'm gonna have to live with it my whole life. Well, that's a mind frame as well, right? If you take the proper steps to get better and you stick to your plan, that type of behavior is temporary. Second thing is that people need to understand that the only future predictor of violence is previous violence, not mental health diagnosis. So you can absolutely battle mental illness and still have every right to protect yourself and have a firearm in the house. One of the things besides things like Cause a Pause is take regular mental health screenings. WTTA.org/love. And I'll send you guys a package. We have these bands that we pass out at gun shows that say, take this free and anonymous. Free and anonymous is amazing. That's what everybody in our industry loves. We like to stay anonymous. We don't like to put ourselves on on lists and everything like that. So you can go there and take a screening. You don't have to be in mental health crisis to even take a screening. You can take a screening just to make sure everything's okay, right? It's like maintenance, like your car, right? Your mind, you go in there, and there's 13 different screenings on there. There's anxiety, depression, PTSD. Go ahead and just take one and just see what it says. Right? And nobody's going to come kicking down your door or, whatever information you don't want to give them, you don't have to. So I think regular screenings, being mindful, things like cause a pause, I think those are great. I also think that, and this is on me and Walk the Talk America, we got to do better. And this is why we hold these courses for mental health professionals. We want that network of, affiliate mental health clinicians that speak our language, that understand our culture. Don't always look at every mental health professional and say they're these gun-grabbing people that are just waiting to pounce on my rights.
We've heard horror stories where that has happened. Someone went to someone they trusted and said, "Hey, I have whatever issue." Sometimes it's not a mental health issue. It might be a family, problem of a divorce or something where it got a little messy, and then red flag laws or similar things. So people lump all that in together, thinking, I can't go talk to a friend of mine, I can't go talk to a mental health professional, or all this is at risk. So what you're doing is helping bring in people who believe in gun ownership, that are well aware of the relationship between firearms and mental health, and giving them a way to navigate that.
Right. I want to connect the community with the people that will support us and get it. I mean, that's really what I want to do. And it's great because, believe it or not, people always ask, has the pushback been really bad from the mental health side? And it hasn't. Like, once they see what we're doing, they're like, this is actually really cool, right? We can police our own, create ways, safe storage programs. Hold My Guns is another organization that I'm really fond of because, they're starting a network of safe storage programs where people can take their firearms in a time of crisis. There's a number of ways that's beneficial to people. Sometimes people don't even think about all the different ways that, because they're like, why do I need to take my guns there? Number of reasons. We're working with a safe company right now. It's coming out with some awesome technology where people can, police their own in a responsible manner. There's so much that we can do. There's actually a lot that we can do as the industry.
Michael,
I think people
I was going to end it on this segment, but if you can do one more, I feel like there's just a little bit more that I want to cover with you.
I got all day, guys. We can keep going.
Hey everyone, the Gun Shop Show is brought to you by Carthage Lock and Key. If you need anything to do with a lock or a key
to success.
Did they tell you to say that?
No, I just thought it sounded good.
They have a mobile service, so they can come to you and cut pretty much any kind of key
to success.
Or if you lock your keys in your car.
Success.
I'm talking even security modern chip keys.
To success.
Trevor, could you just jingle the name of the business?
Okay. Yeah, I'll do it good this time.
So with all of my properties and all of the needs I have, I trust
Carthage Lock and Key to success.
Hey Adam and Lauren, thanks for jumping on here so we can make an ad for the show.
Yeah, absolutely. We're huge Second Amendment advocates and big supporters of the Liberty Tree and the Gun Shop Show.
All right, so for the ad, we're going to want to go over what you offer.
We do all the standard auto, home insurance, life insurance.
We also do a lot of rental property, whether that be commercial rental or residential, duplexes, apartment complexes, single-family dwellings. And we have specialty policies for all your firearms.
Well, you have commercial coverage on my rental properties, so we can put that in the ad too. And I was thinking that we'll talk about how you're big supporters of the store and how you come in the store pretty much every day on your lunch break and buy guns.
Maybe don't mention the everyday thing because my wife does watch the show. But we've been known to come in occasionally.
Every once in a while.
All right, guys, I think that we have everything we need to make an ad. So once I get it done, I'll give you guys a holler to check it out. Trevor, don't put it in the ad, but those guys are in here literally every day on their lunch break.
Hey everybody, Eli here, and I'm really excited to tell you that the Gun Shop Show is brought to you by one of my favorite places on earth. Located here in my hometown of Carthage on the beautiful historic square, the Emporium on the square, and the Woodshed. It's a art gallery, an event center, a gift shop. They have art classes, and there's very unique Americana artwork from famous artists like Andy Thomas. They handle a lot of his original framing. Just has this incredible old school vibe, and you can feel the history coming through. Have to check out the art gallery, but then as you work your way to the back, my favorite part, the Woodshed, had a lot of great meals in here. They've got burgers. I love their catfish. Excellent. Chicken and waffles even. It's incredible. And it's also a music venue, so we got to see my favorite band of all time, the Ben Miller Band. Ceiling was literally raining down. They were rocking so hard. But the best thing, owned by one of my favorite people on earth, that's Cherry Babcock. Check out the Emporium on the Square and the Woodshed. The Gun Shop Show, brought to you by little old ladies. They're little and they're old. They're little old ladies. Welcome back on the Gun Shop Show. We're joined by Michael Sodini of Walk the Talk America. And before we get back into some very important topics, I want to remind you that you need to share the feed and tag 5 friends. So if you're listening on the radio and you're like, what does that even mean? It means you got to go over to Facebook and type in Liberty Tree Guns, and you're going to get to see, as well as hear, the Gun Shop Show. So you're going to see our guest, you're going to see the guns in the store, you're going to see Trevor and our gun bunny Logan. And I wanted to read a quick bullet point from Michael's bio. It says, Michael is a visionary thinker known for his loyalty and unique sense of humor to his industry colleagues and friends, and more than anything, he's dedicated to creating conversations that will help pave the way for a brighter future. Michael, you've already made me laugh a couple of times, and I think that a little bit of humor and a little bit of not taking yourself too seriously is something that our industry actually needs.
Well, I appreciate that, and I agree with you. I think everybody always looks at us, and they, like I said, I think when they get to know the people in the industry, it's one of the reasons why I fell in love with the industry, not being directly involved in it before Eagle, was the way that people interacted and treated me. Right. I got to see behind the curtain. I got to go to the gun shows while we're all sitting around bars, busting each other's balls and just having a good time. So I think it's important, too, is when you walk into that room and you're amongst people that probably have made that judgment call against you just simply because they don't like firearms, which is okay. Like, you can walk this earth and hate firearms. That shouldn't be something that really makes you emotionally distraught when someone doesn't see it your way. Usually it's when a politician does it, it's a little annoying because that's what they're running on, right? But the average person probably just doesn't want to see people hurt or killed, and I can understand that. So, in order to change minds, I think you need to draw people in and make them intrigued, and make them feel safe, that they can say anything around you, that they can ask the question that may seem stupid to them, or they think you think it's stupid. So I agree with you. I appreciate that attitude.
I find that in classes and here on the show is people go in a little nervous. They're, they suspect you're this alpha guy, you're this no nonsense, I don't want to hear a stupid question guy. But as soon as you tell a joke or you make fun of yourself a little bit, which is easy to do for me when I'm teaching a class because I always screw something up, then it breaks down that barrier. They're like, okay, well, since we're laughing together now as friends or, enjoying at least this moment, let me ask you something. And people have shared a lot of really, really private things about their lives, things that are going on with them. But I try to put myself in the perspective of even someone who's fairly anti-gun. So say you believe that we should greatly restrict gun ownership or maybe ban almost entirely guns. You have to look at your organization and say, well, regardless, how can it be a bad thing to help someone with mental health from the perspective of this industry, no matter how you feel about it? So, and the flip side, if you're hardcore pro-gun like us, how can this be a bad thing? You know, I have used that statistic that, okay, of all the gun deaths, go ahead and get rid of 2/3 of them, you know, because that isn't violence in the way that it's sometimes being packaged by the anti-gun lobby as, oh, people are out here, you know, just taking lives en masse, because once you take out the suicides, the number is much, much lower. But you can't just say, throw that out, you know, you have to address it. So I wanted to make sure before we got out of here to extend an offer to you, Michael, if you can get us some of your flyers or any other material, we'll start putting those in our firearms boxes here at Liberty Tree Guns. We'll start putting those in outgoing shipments. So whatever resources you have, we want to help, and we'll make that commitment right now.
No, thank you very much. That's great. And I feel like the more we all get behind programs that are similar to you know, Walk the Talks and Hold My Gun, all these things, it's better, because when we go to the Capitol and we go and we talk to people that are considering laws or writing bills or things like that, then you can show them what we do, and it may change their mind. I mean, I've seen it. You know, that's why I'm a big believer in it, and it doesn't hurt. Right? Because we're not going to come off of our stance. We're not going to break from what we believe, but we can find the things that we can do to get the people to get people in crisis the help they need without fear of consequence. I repeat that all the time because it's true. Like, that's really what we need to do. We need to get that number down, and we can actually work on the other number as well. There are things we can do that don't involve restriction.
Yeah, and why wouldn't we?
Why wouldn't we?
Why wouldn't we? When we say you shouldn't restrict guns because of gun accidents, for example, we as a community say, because we're training the people that we sell to, we're putting information about child safe storage. You know, we have an episode that, or a commercial that we run, a promo that plugs safe storage at home for youth that we run for free on the Gun Shop Show, because we believe in that. So if we're going to say, hey, if you're planning to legislate gun ownership, know that we are taking this even beyond what we have to do, because we believe it's the right thing to do to be good stewards of gun ownership. Why wouldn't we do that in this category of mental health?
Absolutely. And I don't want it to make it sound like this stuff isn't going unnoticed by people. I made it to the White House. I'm on the Suicide Prevention Task Force Prevents. I was the only gun industry person on that team. Like you guys, you know, being self-deprecating, believe me, there were people rolling over in their graves when I was walking into the White House. They were like, no way, this is impossible. I kept asking people, how did I get here? How did I get here? Like, who's the person who recommended me to get me on this task force? And of course, everyone's just like, hey, because what you do is awesome, right? But the bigger picture, the thing that I recognize there through this little humble brag, is that they are taking notice. You know what I mean? And they're getting it. My work with the VA, saying to these guys, look, there's so many vets, there's so many active duty military in the firearms community. You guys are missing a whole segment of people that you should be working with. It is getting noticed. And I think that, you know, in the next 5 years, like I said, we're going to get to where everything's an obstacle. If you truly believe that you can change the way people think about firearms and mental health, everything's just an obstacle. You can get around an obstacle or over it or blast through it.
With 1 minute left, we're going to give us your links. How do people find you? They want to help. They want to get involved. We got 1 minute. Tell us how to find you.
Okay, so on social media, it's at Walk the Talk US. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and Facebook. We're pretty active on there, so if you just have a question or you want to send us a message, one of us always gets back to you. WTTA.org or walkthetalkamerica.org. That's our website. You can go there and see all the different programs. Obviously, for time constraints, I couldn't get into every single thing that we do. It would have been boring anyways. But you can go there and check us out and email us. Contact forms on the site. So,
and you also have a podcast, which everyone should check out. Michael, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you, and I hope to have you back sometime soon. Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it, fellas.
People are always asking me, Eli, you seem to get the best deals on things. What is your secret?
Glory actions and estate sales.
Trevor, I appreciate you jingling, but I have to say the ad part first because people need to know about the company.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to do that.
And then also, it's it's covering up my face. So
right.
just get a picture like from their Facebook page because that's the best place, and then just put it right up here where the Gun Shop Show logo is. Okay.
Yeah. All right, I'll do better this
time.
Then
so let me finish the ad, and then you can jingle. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the best place to go is their Facebook page.
Oh, glory actions and estate sales.
You know what? Fine. I'll just move in between the graphics and finish telling people that the best place to find out when
Old Glory actions and estate sales. I think I got it that time, man.
Land is everything to me. When I was born, I was brought home to the family farm, was raised, learned work ethic there, learned appreciation and respect for life and the land itself, and it just became second nature. I had to be there all the time. Whenever I wasn't on the land, I was not happy. But I learned to understand the land, learned to respect it, learned family values. My wife and I have bought a farm besides the one we live on, and it has just been it's been a great investment, and it's been someplace that my son and I have shared the passion of hunting together, and it's just land has been everything in my life. It has kind of kept me focused and gave me a place to be. It's kind of kept me grounded.
Hey, you know what makes this, the Gun Shop Show, possible? It's people who believe in the show. And someone who has believed in the show from the very beginning is my good friend Chris Chapman, owner of Whitehead Farm Supply. Here's a message from Chris.
Guys, my name's Chris Chapman, owner of Whitehead Farm Supply, and I just want to take a few seconds here to let you know that we are going to be proud sponsors of the Gun Shop Show, and we appreciate everything that them guys are doing over there, and we just want to show them our support. Thank you.
So whether you have 2 chickens or 2,000 acres, Chris is your man. Give him a call. I guess that's pretty much the ad.
Whitehead Farm Supply.
Seriously?
Welcome back to the Member's Voice. This week, John, one of our Florida members, is going to share his experience with us firsthand. So listen up, members, because this story could be any one of us. I want you to pay close attention and make a mental note of what happened in a case like this. Here is John's story.
March 30th of last year, I was riding my motorcycle home from a group ride with my local hog chapter, and a guy in a minivan decided to pull up next to me in a bike lane and almost run me off the road. That guy proceeded to follow me 4 or 5 miles, basically cornered me in a one-way beach entrance and called the police, and I was actually arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and improper brandishment of a handgun. I went to jail that night, but before I went, my wife made probably the most important phone call of our 12-year marriage, and that was calling the phone number on the U.S. Law Shield card and getting me the representation that I needed. I'm very, very proud to say that now, as I sit before you, on January 19th, both charges in my case were dropped. And had it not been for U.S. Law Shield, I can just tell you that I am a first-year U.S. Law Shield member when this had happened. I'm going to be a lifetime U.S. Law Shield member because I would not have been able to really to protect myself, especially financially with the costs involved, had it not been for this program.
Thank you so much, John, for sharing your story with us. Now remember, members, if you ever have to display your firearm, you call 911 first, you give them your name, your location, and ask for the services you need. Hang up and then call the U.S. Law Shield hotline. As always, members, keep sending your story to memberstories@uslawshield.com.
Welcome back to the Gun Shop Show. Is the revolver in my hand the best revolver that money can buy? That's a question that I posed when I posted a video earlier this week of me with this Korth NXR 44 mag revolver. And I thought people really interested to see what this is, what it's all about. Some of them heard the price, which is $5,999, by the way.
Which is the amount of your stimulus, right?
Right. And they wanted to know, what is this gun all about? How does it arrive at that price point? Which, by the way, during the break, I had to take this from Gary.
Yeah. Did he wrestle you for it?
No, it's like in the middle of a sale.
Oh, it's already out the door.
Yeah, I had a customer trading in 6 guns.
Yikes.
Wow. 6 guns to get to this Korth. And I really want to share more with our fans and our audience and our followers about the gun. And I thought, who better to explain this than the man I got the gun from?
Yeah.
And that is our rep, Joe Lehr from Nighthawk Customs, and is also the distributor supplier for us for this beautiful Korth revolver, which if you're listening on the radio, you're going to want to jump over to the live stream so you can see this thing.
It's like the muscle car of guns.
It is. It is. So, Joe, thank you so much for being on the program.
No, thanks, Eli. Glad to be here.
So this is a beautiful gun, and of course everything we've ever received from Nighthawk Custom is a beautiful gun. But Korth, that's a little bit different brand name than Nighthawk Custom, which we're a stocking dealer for. But let's take a minute, and if you don't mind, explain the relationship between Korth and Nighthawk.
Well, we're starting our 5th year with Korth. We met them at the IWA show in Germany, and the reason we got into business with them is they build their stuff the same way we do ours. They're one gunsmith. All their guns are solid billet steel. There's no cast or metal injected type parts. So we thought that was going to be a kind of a marriage made in heaven, basically, because they build their stuff the same way we do. Martin Rothman, who's the owner of Korth, he bought the company in 2008. Willie Korth actually founded the company back in '54, and it ran all the way up until the early '90s when they ran onto financial problems, and it sat dormant for quite a while until Martin bought it. Anyway, Martin is our partner now and does a fantastic job supplying us with revolvers. We get probably 4 shipments a year. Once a quarter, we'll get a shipment. Various models. That's a new model this year, the NXR. Fantastic. We had gotten with Martin almost since the beginning, because being a European manufacturer, all the other chamberings they had for us was 357 Magnum, and I'll explain later about the 9mm with them. But for the American market, we wanted a 44. So last year he designed us a 44 Magnum, and that NXR comes in a 4-inch or a 6-inch. You notice the vents on the barrel shroud there. It's for cooling, also for aesthetics. A lot of other features on this pistol. It's got a weight bar underneath to keep your muzzle down. It's got the Picatinny rail. You'll notice the plates on the sides of the front sight. Those are removable if you like for different applications.
this shrouded front sight. It's great because it really obviously is going to protect that front sight, but also really gives a tough look to this revolver. So make sure that if you're listening on the radio, you go check out the live stream so you can see this thing. It's also available on libertytreeguns.com. But just a beautifully crafted revolver. I'll let you go ahead and keep talking about some features if you have a few more you want to point out, Joe.
Sure. It's got a DLC finish, which is a super tough, very hard finish, very durable. You're not going to get a holster wear right away from it. Now that frame on that's an N-size frame with an L-size basically grip on it. So it's kind of unique in itself. If you're looking for a holster, we can get you a custom holster for it. We have a manufacturer that makes our holsters. So a Smith type holster would, if you're looking for a holster for that, the N size should fit that pretty close. If you can't find one, just give us a call, and we can get you in touch with Eli. We can get you a custom holster built for one. Other features on that, the cylinder release, which is a little different on that compared to a lot of revolvers.
Right here, right?
Yep, right there. You just push forward on that.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get it in the camera, but there we go. Yeah, it's definitely a unique methodology for opening that cylinder, which is great because...
is it also the safety? It has a red dot on it.
No, I mean that I could see where you could ask that, but a lot of the safety features on a revolver are built into both the trigger pull and the if you're going to use it as a single action, which this gun is single and double action. Joe, you kind of got into Korth builds these guns, one gunsmith. We've got a big display case with the sign. This is Nighthawk Custom, one gunsmith. You're thankfully fairly local to us, but let's talk about the differences between a production gun. I mean, it's obvious once you hold or shoot a Nighthawk versus a production gun. It doesn't need a lot more explanation, but when people are trying to understand the value or why someone would want to own one of these finely made guns, it helps to understand how they're made. And understand, for example, with this Korth, that there's a finite amount of these things made every year. And so for us as a dealer, even though our working capital, it's putting a lot into one gun when we pick one of these up, but we know that there's clients that demand the very best, and they're not going to get a chance just every day to get a gun like this in. So talk about how Nighthawks and similarly Korths are made and how they're different than, say, like a Ruger 1911.
Well, like you're alluding to, they're all one gunsmith. So there's nothing on a production line where you've got a bunch of people disassembling guns. As parts come off the machine, they all come together. So you have 10, say Rugers. You can probably take all those Rugers apart, throw them all the parts in a box, take them out, and assemble 10 Rugers again. Mix all the parts together. On a custom gun, everything is hand fit. All our parts are oversized, whereas the Korths are too. So the smith has to hand fit every part to those pistols. So they're all hand machined. The parts are all machined off our CNC machines, but they're oversized on purpose. So the smith has to hand fit every single part to those pistols. And when you hand fit something like that, that's where you get your one hole accuracy, a 1-inch group 25-yard accuracy guarantee. If you can hold it that still, it's going to shoot through the same hole every time.
That's amazing.
And when you alluded to, you got a gentleman or whoever your customer is trading in 6 guns for that one gun, and I hear this all the time. I've been selling these for 6.5 years, and when I first started, I was pretty new to the 1911 market, but I learned very quickly what the advantages of a custom pistol are. And I hear it time and time again where we've sold somebody it's their first pistol and, they can't wait to get their second one, or they've traded off all their other ones because, once you shoot a custom pistol, there's nothing like shooting that. It's amazing. They say a manufactured pistol, there's a lot of good manufactured pistols out there, and you can, hold a tight group with them. The features of a custom gun, ours are less on recoil, especially on a 45 or a 10. 9, not so much, but we have a high undercut on our pistols, a tight barrel fit, which eases your shooting. There's not as much felt recoil. You're back on target quicker. There's less muzzle rise.
Joe, if you got the time, we'll do one more segment with you because Nighthawk's an incredible company right here on the Gun Shop Show.
Commercial idea for net fishes. I walk into the commercial director, we'll call him's office. I say to him, "Hey, how's it going?" He replies, "Good. We got your commercial ready to go. Are you ready to listen?" "Yeah, but before I do, I have an idea I want to float by you." He says, "Okay," a bit sarcastically. And I say, "All right." And I clear my throat and I start singing this song, something similar. Net fishes, we're all really good friends, hanging out and stuff, and having memories to talk about when we were young. It's net fishes. And I say the business name wrong, like fish nets. He replies, "That's terrible. And you didn't even say the right business name at the end. It's your business." Then it cuts to fish snatches. Net fishes, where we can all be friends. And commercial.
The Gun Shop Show costs money to make, and the Gun Shop Show is brought to you by pecans and cheese. Not really. Actually, we didn't have any sponsors for this segment, and so I decided that I would take a snack break, and also I decided if you guys are tired of listening to me eat cheese and nuts, that you need to buy an ad. So from now on, if our ad sponsorships don't sell out, you're going to have to listen to me eat nuts and cheese. In order to sponsor the Gun Shop Show, send us an email at thegunshopshow@gmail.com.
Next week, chips.
Welcome back on the Gun Shop Show. I have to be quick because this Korth NXR revolver, there's literally a customer in the building here at Liberty Tree Guns trying to take this thing home, which makes me both happy and sad at the same time.
Do you suspect that it's Mike Tyson? Because it sounds like his kind of gun.
Korth?
Yeah, of course it is.
So I may have to, Logan, why don't you go loose and go make sure that if they're waiting on this, we can go ahead and send this on its way. Go check on that for me if you wouldn't mind. I want to remind you real quick to share the feed and tag 5 friends in the comments of the live stream. So if you're listening on the radio, which, by the way, we're coming up, this is the last segment on the radio, right? And so we want you to join the live stream because we will go into the show overdrive portion of the show. But either way, jump over there, share the stream, tag 5 of your friends, and you're going to get a Liberty Tree Guns gift card, which you could use to apply to a Nighthawk or a Korth. If in the event that this sale falls through, maybe this Korth will be available.
Maybe it doesn't work out for him. Maybe it could be someone else's.
I don't believe it will. But real quick, before we throw back to Joe from Nighthawk Custom, I want to announce the winner of last week's prize here on the show. And that winner is...
Need a drum roll?
I prefer a drum roll.
All right, I'll drum roll.
I mean, Miss Jane Imthern the winner of the $50 gift card from Liberty Tree Guns. We have a gun tender here lingering. Is he eyeballing this?
Yes, he is.
Is it sold?
The Korth is sold.
All right. Remington, by the way, that is his real name, one of our fine gun tenders here at Liberty Tree Guns. We have to wave goodbye to that Korth because it is going to its forever home. But don't fear, because Joe is here to tell us about Nighthawk. And Joe, I'm not supposed to talk business live on the air, but is there any chance of me getting another Korth from you?
Yeah, it's a pretty good chance. It's probably going to be later in the month, but I don't have anything available at the moment. We do have our new shipment coming in, probably end of the month, last week, January, maybe the first week or two in February.
Okay.
It's hard to tell you. He's coming from Germany.
Right.
A lot of variables.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors there with importation and, when you're making things in the fashion that those are made, there are a lot of variables. But put me down, please, sir, for another Korth revolver when they come in.
Gotcha. Is any certain model you're looking?
Let's mix it up. I love... I can look at them and look at pictures and look at features, but it isn't until I get to hold them to see what I like about a certain barrel length or a certain model. So just put me down to get a call when that shipment comes in, and together we'll pick one out.
Gotcha.
So
we'll mix it up. Maybe get you something in 357 this time.
Yeah, I would love it. 357 is super popular here at Liberty Tree Guns. Before the break, we were talking about the difference between a custom gun and a production gun. So I'm not really a gun snob. I like entry-level guns. There's a lot of brands that are manufacturer-based guns that crank these things out on an assembly line, and they're worth owning. However, Nighthawk Custom is on a whole other level. It's a different experience. And shooting them is the best way to figure it out. But even when you show a customer, you pull out a Nighthawk, and they're like, what? They see the price because, just full transparency, you're looking minimum of upper $3,000, $3,850 on up to $5,000-$6,000. We've even had an $8,000 VIP in here. They're like, they kind of raise their eyebrow. What's this all about? And so you explain it's one gun, it's one gunsmith. But even when they just pull back on the slide and they feel how that compares, just that one functionality of the gun, they pull back on the slide and lock it back, their eyes kind of light up, and you see them, I'm starting to get a glimpse that this is indeed different. So it's like, how are these better? Well, how is a Ferrari different than a Chevy Cavalier? Like, they'll both drive you somewhere, but you're going to have a dramatically different experience when you drive in the Ferrari. So I wanted to get back into that process. One gun, one gunsmith. You already sort of set the stage for us of how those are built, but let's talk about how long that takes, some of the unique materials that Nighthawk incorporates into their firearms.
Well, similar, depending on the model, because you can start off with our base model GRP, and it's got your basic features, like you say. You alluded to a Lamborghini, which I like to use that analogy also. Our GRP is our base model, opening price point, and you can start there. So you're comparing a Lamborghini with rubber floor mats all the way up to our VIP, where you get it with every available option or feature. So it just depends on options and features, how long it takes to make one, anywhere from total hours, probably anywhere from 40 to 80, or if you get one fully engraved, maybe even plus man hours total to build one of these. So, when you're talking man hours, that's a guy over a bench. It's not a machine just putting out all that. He's over the bench, building his pistol. And These are all hand filed, hand sanded. There's you look at the edges. There's not a sharp edge anywhere on these. All hand fit. You grab the slide. On a manufactured gun, you're probably going to get a little wiggle on the slide. It may rattle a little bit. You're not going to get that out of a Nighthawk. It's just super tight. And when you pick it up and look at all the edges and all the features on the gun, you can just tell from the look of the gun, and not just the look, the feel. And you alluded to the pulling the slide back. You pull it back, and it feels like it is on ball bearings, which they are. They're just buttery smooth. And then you let your customer try the trigger on them. Our triggers are set at 3.5 to 3 3/4 pounds. They break like a piece of glass. It's a custom trigger. You compare that to a manufactured trigger where you're pulling and pulling and pulling, and that's where you get a lot of your accuracy. Also, not just the barrel fit and the tight fit, but if you got a fantastic trigger. That's if you're not sitting there tugging and pulling on the trigger, you're going to be a lot more accurate.
Yeah, Trevor, if you can go to Nighthawk's website, and we'll put some of their guns on screen. But the process is entirely different, and I'm hoping that this year we're going to take a trip down to see you, Joe, at Nighthawk, and really get an in-depth look at this incredible way that your guns are made. And when I first got into retail, and I started to I started out really small, so the thought for me of taking my limited capital and putting so much of it into one gun, you think I could buy one Nighthawk or like 100 Ruger LCPs or 100 1022s or something like that. It seemed almost unattainable. But one of the things that I kind of raised my own eyebrows at was Nighthawk's own slogan, which is, I believe, the world's. Tell me what it is exactly, Joe. The world's
finest 1911.
The world's finest 1911. What I found, though, since and having a few years under my belt, is nobody really challenges that notion. Even other manufacturers who make nice 1911s, in reputation-wise, nobody really goes after that mantle that Nighthawk sits upon.
Well, to go along with that, it's not just a custom gun; it's the experience of getting the gun. And like you can see on our website here, it shows all the different models here. We have over 50 different models. We even have a legacy page. Whereas if you see something that we have built in the past and aren't building at the time, you give us a call. We can get in contact with Eli here if we want to bring one back out, and somebody wants we want to custom build one for one of your customers wants to custom build one of those. We can do that. So the great thing about our guns also, just because you see a base model there, that's not just the only base model we make. We can, if you look at the site there, we can customize those to your customer satisfaction. If they want different options from different models, we can kind of, depending on which one it is, but for the most part, you can mix and match and make your own personal custom gun.
It's really fun to watch the experience of someone getting a Nighthawk, especially their first one. I mean, a lot of the people I sell them to, it's their third or fourth one, which proves they've already spent that kind of money and they see the value. The customer that bought that Korth from us has 2 other Nighthawk 1911s that he already owns, so it's proof positive. But when they get that for the first time, you can tell it's like they just got dealt pocket aces for their buddies when they're out at the range, and the guy pulls out a CZ and another guy pulls out a Colt. Once you pull out that Nighthawk, it's game over. There's no topping that in bragging rights. Joe, we're out of time. Thanks so much for being on the Gun Shop Show.
Eli, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Kids are curious by nature. Do your part to prevent unwanted tragedy from striking in your home by doing these simple tasks. Consider gun locks and/or gun safes for storage of firearms. Don't leave your guns unattended where children could reach them. Discuss with your children the rules of firearm safety. Sign your kids up for hunter safety classes. Firearm safety in the household is your responsibility. Do your part to prevent unwanted tragedy from striking in your home. For more information, visit JasperCountySheriff.org.
This just in. Huge cave found beneath the heart of the city. Spelunkers shared tales of an underground cavern system in Carthage, Missouri. Locals report the entrance to be at 10th and Garrison.
Cave Gang Pizza. Stop in and enjoy wings, wood-fire pizza made with local ingredients, and our full bar. Bring the whole gang and uncover a legend.
Buckle up, because belts just got better. With Core Essentials, the perfect fit every time. With 40-plus sizing positions. Styles for any situation. Whether in the boardroom crushing sales and taking names, on your next adventure, in the great outdoors, or when you're done for the day and ready to relax. Get your perfect fit with Core Essentials.
The Gun Shop Show, the Gun Shop Show. What is it? We don't know. The Gun Shop Show, the Gun Shop Show. Here we go, it's the Gun Shop Show.
Here we go. It is the Shover Drive portion of the Gun Shop Show where things really tend to go off the rails.
They do. And you know what else? First Shover Drive? With our new mics.
Mm-hmm. We got new mics.
Dude, we bought 4 mics, but on this show, we had 5 mics.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
We did. Yeah, we bought 4 mics, ended up with 5 mics.
That's quite a bit of mics.
Just for a few segments, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed that conversation, by the way.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it might not be as action-packed, about, for example, talking about a $6,000 Korth revolver, right. But it's an important one and really an interesting one because it's something that needs done in our industry. It needs done in general, but
right.
It's kind of interesting because I'm no expert. I can only speculate about what might contribute to mental health issues, but when we as humans were doing more human things like running through through the countryside and digging and striving, you were just trying to survive physically. Now we have what might be an overload of inputs and considerations and things to worry about, and we are going to have to figure out a way to adapt and evolve to make sure that this issue, which really, if everyone has mental health.
Totally.
And that is something that we just noticed.
Yikes.
That's the tag to the Korth.
Hopefully they know how much it's supposed to go out the door for now.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, anyway, back to your point, Eli. Yeah, I mean, we have physical health and we have mental health, and some folks don't give much attention to their physical health, and the same for their mental health. It takes practice. It takes exercise to improve that health, believe it or not. And I mean, one of the things that I really appreciate about Michael, I think he goes by Mike, is the fact that he's trying to raise awareness on this so that we can handle this issue before, obviously it's already an issue, but trying to do something about it now is better than after our rights have been stripped away from us because of numbers that revolve around suicides and firearms.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I've found in general, I mean, not necessarily even just firearm related, as I have experienced some temporary crises of my own and how they affected my mental health. Now when I see someone else going through a similar experience, I make a point to reach out.
Yeah.
And so often those people that's the only hand that's been reached out to them. Right. Maybe not literally a hand, but they're more ready to talk about that and appreciate the fact that someone can empathize with what they're going through. And so there may be a stigma or not, but it's too important to just ignore.
Yeah, well, silence doesn't resolve anything. Conversation does. Language does. You could use 1984 as an example in that, and they removed words from the language, and people therefore got dumber and were unable, obviously, to resolve anything. And freedom. It died. So, I mean, even though that's a story, it's still true. The more language we have, the more conversations we have, the more solutions we find, and the more we can try to fight off problems.
Yep. So we set a goal for this year. We've talked about it in a couple of videos and a couple of other instances, but it is quite lofty.
You're a dreamer, man.
Yeah, that's dream big. Got to set those goals. So we have a thriving business here at Liberty Tree Guns on a lot of aspects, from our training to our sale items like the blue dot items. But one of the big things that we've really mastered, has given us an edge, is the ability to list used firearms. So sometimes they're unfired, they're like new, they're mint condition, but they still get lumped in as used because they're unique. There's no other ones just like that one.
Yeah, used has a bad connotation, but that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong.
I try to avoid churching it up with pre-owned or collectible, and just call it used. But in reality, sometimes they're not used at all. But the challenge for us when we sell those is, it's unique. And even if it's a common gun, this used example of it is still a unique version of that gun.
Yeah, it's got its own scratches. It's got its own use.
Yeah, or if it's mint condition, the fact that it's pre-owned and
has history.
Yeah, even if you got the box and everything, we still will mark it accordingly, because we want you to know if it left the building and comes back in, then it's going to be marked that way. But one of the upsides is those guns are either unlike anything else and therefore desirable, or they're a better deal.
Yeah.
Because they're used. But the challenges with selling those is every listing has to be unique. You can't just scan it into the system and the stock photo and the stock description goes up on the website. You have to write a description. You have to take a photograph which captures any of the unique characteristics, whether it's accessorized or whether it has some wear, whether it's an antique, and so therefore it has things you're going to look for, like holster wear and bore condition and any cracks or blemishes in the stock. And so we're documenting all of that. And what we've worked on for the last few years is becoming experts at doing that in mass. And we've gotten better and better. And now it's time to put that expertise really to use. We're going to run a marathon of used guns this year. So our goal in 2021 is to get 2021 used guns, whether they're collections that we purchase outright or consignments, in the building at the same time. The struggle is we're racing against ourselves. You know what's surprisingly fun?
What's that?
What is that?
The old Ghost racing feature on the original Nintendo 64 Mario Kart.
Oh, yeah.
See, are you familiar with it?
Is that where you raced your previous lap?
Yeah, you raced your previous self.
Yeah. So it's like
So you're always trying to improve against yourself.
Right. Yeah, and it got really down to the details, on a certain course, like you got to go around it the right way. And this goal of ours is very much like that, in the fact that we're trying to get as many guns in the building as we can, but ironically, we're really good at selling them.
Yeah.
So the second we get them in, they start selling. And part of the process when we bring in a used gun is we do all of those things. We check it we inspect it, we write a listing, we take photographs, and it, boom, through our system that we've built, goes on Gunbroker. It goes on LibertyTreeGuns.com. Sometimes it makes it on the Gun Shop Show. It goes on Gunspot. It reaches quite a wide audience, which means people snatch them up. They're good deals, and they can even use a free layaway program to only pay 10% down and get those quickly. So as soon as they come in, they sell. The more they get, the more we sell. And so we're really going to have to we're going to have to turn the knob up to 11 and rip it off.
Yeah, we're going to need to do a 2-to-1 ratio on this for a while.
Yeah.
Bring in 2 guns for every 1 gun we sell. And that's
Maybe
to say
3-to-1.
we want to sell less. We just need to get more.
So we're going to be
guns.
racing a Mario Kart ghost of ourselves to get this done. But we need your help, which means if you know of a gun that you can put on consignment or trade in or sell to us, we would appreciate that. And the great thing about our consignment program is you get to be in total control of price, and we will list it on all of the popular websites and get everything that is a challenge for an individual gun owner, which is dealing with shipping and credit card processing and ATF paperwork and customer communication and reach. Really, we're reaching
hundreds of thousands of pairs of eyeballs.
Hundreds of thousands every month that we're hitting between our email lists and our text blasts and our Good Morning Guns videos and the Gun Shop Show. So when you put your gun on consignment, really all you're doing is dropping it off. If you want us to help you determine the best market value... Whoa, that one snuck up on me. I don't have my sip.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
You see, that sip matters.
It does.
What was I saying?
What you're telling people is, don't make it a headache for yourself. Let us do it for you.
Yeah. We're good at it.
We handle everything. You just bring it in, and then we call you whenever there's a check to pick up. And I'll tell you, the rates are probably some of the best consignment rates you're going to find in the industry.
Everything's inclusive, and let me show you. I took a picture.
No surprise fees either. We're not going to tell you one thing and
we'll be completely upfront.
See if this shows up on camera. Can you see that?
Yeah, let me flip over here. What are we looking at here?
Well,
I just see white. Are those checks, man?
Those are consignment checks.
Those are consignment checks.
Oh, I saw those yesterday.
Board full of consignment
What's really
checks.
interesting is I drew a green line to cover up the consigners' names. And in that camera, you don't see that green line.
I know.
Washing it out.
Yeah, interesting. So, some of our consigners choose to have their check mailed to them. These are just the people that chose to come in store.
Right.
And that's just one day, and some of them had already been picked up. So tens of thousands of dollars being paid out to our consigners every week, and you can get in on that by bringing in 1 gun, 100 guns, 1,000 guns. We'll take care of all of that for you.
What do you? Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. What do you think the percentage on a auction would be? What's the take that the auctioneer is going to get if he auctions off your collection of guns?
Minimum of 20%.
Yep,
and
that's more than what we're charging.
That's more than what we're charging, and the thing is, if your gun sells for half of what it's worth, that's it. You don't have any say when you do an auction. For us, you get to control the price. So if you choose and you want us to choose the best market value, which we're incentivized to, obviously get the top dollar that your gun is worth. We don't want to overprice it, so we're going to price it where it will sell, but we're also not going to, dramatically underprice it so that you get the fair value for both parties. But if you put it on the market, and sometimes with depends on the gun, but you price it a little on the higher side, and boom, someone snatches it up on Gunbroker, no questions asked. Or sometimes 2 weeks in, we get an offer, and it's pretty respectable. It's a little less than you listed it for, but it's a chance to sell it right now, get paid right now. So we call you and we run that by you. So day 2, you might not want to take an offer. But, day 14, 15, 16, you get a respectable offer. You say yay or nay. We pull the trigger. We take care of all the logistics, and you get paid. So we need your help to do that. You can bring your guns in, or soon you'll be able to click the sell button on Liberty Tree Guns, and there'll just be a button right there where you can take care of that right on the website. In the meantime, you can give us a call at 417-358-5700, and we'll help you with that.
Happy to. So what else, man? What's going on with you?
Check this out.
We're not even going to go mobile?
Oh, snap.
I
was going to show them all the consignment guns, but they know about it.
Yeah. They already know. They already know.
They already know.
Some people don't know this, Eli, but ball equals life.
It's true. A lot of people aren't aware, but
they're not.
It's true.
Does that mean life is ball?
It would have to be.
It would have to
if
be.
one equals the other, it goes both ways, bro.
Yeah.
On the Gun Shop Show.